What is up, everybody? The time has finally come. I just finished my end of the year list, my 10 favorite albums from 2020. Yeah, not the best year overall, but there was a ton of great metal albums released, and I'm going to be counting down my 10 favorites for you guys here today. As usual, I will give some honorable mentions at the end, and it is just my opinion here, so here we go. Starting off my list, at number 10 is Mass-Produced Perfection by the band Typhus. Now, these guys are from Greece, have actually been around a while. They formed in 2009, but went by the name Nuclear Terror. They had that name until 2019, changed it to Typhus, so this is their first release under this name. They released one EP in like 2014 under the name Nuclear Terror. But this one here is good, old school type thrash. Reminds me a bit of bands like Toxic and I'd say Sanctuary, especially the vocals from this guy. Got his name right here, Kostas Korg. Great vocals, like high, soaring, majestic, melodic type voice, similar to Mike Sanders from the first Toxic album, World Circus, and of course, World Dane from Sanctuary. Great vocals, definitely the standout on this album here. Looking at the track listing, some of the standouts for me, I'd say there's 9 songs, but the standouts are Terror Zone, Krieg Sanity, and I'd probably say Faith Machinery, the final track, but good, solid, old school thrash. If you're into that, definitely check this out. Mass-Produced Perfection, number 10. Next up at number 9 is Slaves of Time by the band Stallion. Really cool band from Germany here. This is their third full-length studio album. Easily one of my favorites to be associated with the new wave of traditional heavy metal movement. Basically, if you're not familiar with that, it's just a movement of bands that have come up in the last like 10 to 12 years that are definitely trying to sound like the 80s, but there's no problem with that. Great classic sounding stuff here. The production's awesome, good vocals, amazing guitar work, a lot of awesome solos and riffs all over this album. I like the blend of several different styles on this one, actually. Kind of mixes in some elements of speed metal, of course, traditional type stuff, and some tints of glam and like 80s sleazy hard rock stuff. Say like on the song All In, reminds me a lot of Face Down in the Gutter by XYZ. Nice slide guitar, heavy, awesome riff. Looking at the rest of the songs, a few more standouts I'd say are Merchants of Fear. That one is super fast and heavy. And probably Dynamiter, which it's a kind of short song, but very fast, upbeat, awesome stuff. But overall, this is just a really good album. Slaves of Time, Stallion, number 9. Next up at number 8 is Requiem by Svartsyn. Great black metal band from Sweden. Formed back in 1993 by a guy named Orneus, and at this point it's basically just a solo project of his. He does all the instruments and vocals except for drums, which he has a session guy come in for that named Hammerman, who does a fantastic job. But Orneus is a great musician. His guitar playing is awesome, great riffs, very kind of thrashy style, got that muddy tone to it, great stuff. And his vocals, very aggressive, dark, haunting, raspy, evil sounding stuff, which fits this music perfectly. Looking at the songs here, there's 6 of them. The album's 46 minutes long, so pretty long songs, but all of them pretty good for the most part. The Pale Horse, the opener, is fantastic. My favorite song on the album. Inner Demonic Rise is the second song, which was released as a single. Another favorite, great stuff. And I'd probably say Spiritual Subjection is my other favorite on here, but again, top to bottom, very good black metal album right here. And if you saw my top 10 black metal albums of 2020, you saw that this one was very high on that list, so you might have been expecting to see it here. But yeah, great album, Requiem, Svartsyn, number 8. Coming in at number 7 is Final Day by the band Satan's Fall. These guys are from Finland. This is their first full-length studio album. Great classic sounding stuff here again. A nice blend of traditional and speed metal. Some of it sounds pretty similar to Judas Priest, I'd say, especially the song Madness Finds a Way. Very similar to the song Leather Rebel from the Painkiller album. But the rest of it, you know, Forever Blind, the opening song, is awesome. And probably Juggernaut's actually my favorite song on the album. But great solos, great riffs, really nice tone. The vocals are pretty good, nice melodies all over the album, but really good stuff here. Final Day, number 7. Next up at number 6 is Death Swings Widespread by Grafvitnir. Great Swedish black metal band here again. These guys a bit more melodic than Svartsyn, which was the other black metal band I talked about from Sweden a few minutes ago, but great band here. Their first album came out in 2012. They've released 7 albums since then, so been an absolute machine. All of the stuff very good as well, so definitely recommend to go check out their catalog. But this album here is amazing. I did rank it number 1 on my top 10 black metal albums of 2020 list. So I really do dig this one a lot. Super killer stuff. The vocals are amazing. You know, that very dark, evil, aggressive, haunting stuff that you love to hear in black metal, of course. But overall, just great stuff. Looking at these songs, some of them are in Swedish, so hard to pronounce. But Hellripper, I think, the second song is amazing. The title track is great. And In Infinitum, my 3 favorites. But top to bottom, awesome album here. Definitely check it out. Death Swings Widespread, number 6. Next up at number 5 is Titans of Creation by Testament. I do actually have this one on CD here. Fantastic thrash album, Testament. Been a machine lately. Their last several albums really good. Really, there's not a terrible Testament album. Obviously, Demonic, not that good, but I wouldn't say it's terrible. But this album here, really, really good stuff. The lineup of the band right now is ridiculous. Steve Giorgio on bass is great. Gene Hoglan on the drums, freaking machine. Eric Peterson and Alex Skolnick on guitar, amazing duo. Skolnick, amazing guitar soloer. Just both of them awesome freaking players. And Chuck Billy on the vocals, still sounds amazing. But looking at these songs, a lot of awesome stuff. You know, the first 3, probably my favorite 3. Children of the Next Level, World War III, and the song Dream Deceiver, I'd probably say is my favorite on the album. But top to bottom, you know, Ishtar's Gate even is another amazing one. But all these songs, really good. Not a dull moment on this, honestly. Great thrash right here. Titans of Creation, Testament, number 5. And for miles around, you can hear the sound to the iron ground. We are on a bound. Next up at number 4 is Blood Red Victory by Ironflame. Fantastic band. The third album from this project. It's actually a one-man band. The guy behind it is Andrew DeCagna. Amazing musician. He does all the instruments and vocals. His voice is amazing, similar to Bruce Dickinson type style. And the overall style of the music is kind of similar to Iron Maiden mixed with like classic US power metal. So if you're into that, this is right up your alley. Looking at these songs, Gates of Evermore is awesome, the opening track. Honor Bound, I gotta say, is probably one of my favorite songs by anybody from the whole year. So that one definitely my favorite on this album. And Seekers of the Blade. But top to bottom, amazing album right here. You know, this guy's guitar playing is awesome. The riffs, the solos, the melodies are great. The tone is awesome. Highly recommend this. I did actually rank the 2018 album Tales of Splendor and Sorrow number 1 on the year. So this guy been on a freaking roll. Andrew DeCagna, Ironflame is the band. And Blood Red Victory, amazing album, my number 4 on the year. Next up at number 3 is The Affair of the Poisons by Hellripper. Another one-man band. The guy behind this one's name is James McBain. He's from Scotland. He's only 25 years old, so a lot of great potential moving forward with this project. This is the second album by Hellripper, and, you know, it freaking rips. Says it right there in the name. It's basically like a mix, if you're not familiar with them. It's a mix of Motorhead, Kill 'Em All era Metallica, and Bathory. So, amazing stuff here. Looking at these songs, couple favorites I'd say are definitely Vampire's Grave, fantastic track, Beyond the Convent, Walls, and probably Blood Orgy of the She-Devils. But top to bottom, great album here. The Affair of the Poisons, Hellripper, number 3. Coming in at number 2 is Dawn of the Damned by Necrophobic. Great classic band here. They formed back in 1989. They're from Sweden. This is their 9th studio album, so been around a long time. The veterans here, and you know, their music's a bit too diverse to classify as one specific genre. This is why I did not include the album in my top 10 black metal albums list, because it blends black and death metal. Some people call it blackened death metal. Whatever you want to call it, I just didn't want to have it just black metal. So great album though, my number 2 on the year. The production's amazing, the guitar playing's great, the drumming's great, pretty much everything on it is great, very consistent from top to bottom. Looking at these songs, the title track, one of my absolute favorites. The Infernal Depth of Eternity is another favorite, and probably Mirror Black. But top to bottom, great album here. Dawn of the Damned by Necrophobic, my number 2 on the year. And some honorable mentions I'll run through here as usual. I want to go through like 10 or 11, so I'm just going to list the band name. You guys can look up the album, but releases from these bands, all very good, so I'm just going to run through them here. No specific order. Butcher, Cultus Profano, Ambush, Glacier, Wanderer, Vampire, Traveler, Lord Fist, Annihilator's new album was really good, Sodom, and Sanira. So those were my honorable mentions. Ton of great releases, a lot more that I didn't list that are really good as well, but on to my number 1. And taking the number 1 spot is Dark Revolution by Tokyo Blade. Fantastic classic band here. Came out of the new wave of British heavy metal movement 40 years ago. Still going strong. This is their 10th album overall. Something else really cool about it is 4 out of 5 members that play on this were on their debut in 1983. So that's freaking awesome. You know, John Wiggins and Andy Bolton on guitar are an amazing duo. The like dueling guitar melodies they come up with are amazing. Kind of Iron Maiden style type stuff. The riffs, the solos, the tone is all great. The vocals here from Alan Marsh are fantastic. Their original classic singer still sounds as good as he did back in 1983, if you ask me. But looking at these songs, a ton of great stuff here. Story of a Nobody, the opening track, starts off with a great heavy riff, hooks you right away. Burning Rain, maybe my favorite song on the album. Title track is great. The Fastest Gun in Town is another amazing one. And Cracking the Glass, my favorites on the album. But top to bottom, very consistent, great album, has a great classic feel to it, takes you back to the 80s. Really don't know why I haven't seen this one on other people's lists. I think it's an absolute travesty, but oh well. It's my number 1 of the year, 2020, best metal album, Dark Revolution, Tokyo Blade. And that does wrap up the list. Wraps up, probably might be my last list here for the year, last video, but yeah, as usual, I want to know what you guys thought. Give me your lists in the comments. And as usual, thank you guys so much for watching. Till next time.